Welcome to the exciting world of the movies.
Zach, what's going on? How you doing? I know you've been depressed because your high school girlfriend dumped you, but don't worry, my high school girlfriend dumped me too, which is strange because we're in our 30s and 40s, but it's making us suicidal, ain't it?
It is. I've been depressed, baby. I've been fucking listening to all the sad songs and shit on the radio, and it never lets up. It's always reminding me of fucking Amanda Weiss just fucking kicking my heart to the curb, baby.
Exactly. So, in order to make ourselves feel better about our lost high school girlfriends, why do these high school girls always dump us, Zach? It's so unfair.
It is.
So, we're going to watch the movie that John Cusack hates, or at least used to hate for a while. Better Off Dead.
I don't know. Why would you ever hate this movie? It's amazing.
Apparently, young John Cusack should have been named John Cusack because he was being a cuck at the time.
He was. He's lightened up on it recently, though.
Thankfully, yeah. Because after that, he did like 35 shitty movies that he realized there were none of them.
Yeah, I think what he said is like, oh, there's something about it. Like he watches it and he notices all the mistakes, but then like he got more, he did more movies, and then he's like, you know what? That just kind of happens with every movie. So maybe like that fucking Better Off Dead wasn't so bad after all.
Exactly.
Hell yeah.
So we're gonna get the movie started. Depending on what version you have, like I have the DVD. Zach has the Blu-ray. There's different opening logos and stuff that have been tacked onto this that weren't on the original release, but we're going right to the very start of the actual movie. It starts out with an animated sequence, and it's a little tonsil ball on a black background of a screaming woman. So, so you're going to be, a few seconds into the running time here.
On the Blu-ray, it's about 10 seconds in.
See, mine was so whack. I'm at 27 seconds. There was so much extra shit on mine. And what's funny is, like, the case and everything, if you go on the DVD, like, the actual DVD itself, everything's printed on with Paramount's 90th anniversary at the time that this DVD came out. Like, they were so proud to slap their logo onto a movie that they originally didn't even distribute.
Exactly.
So we got the tonsil ball close up in the camera here of the animation. I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, go. And I'm going to say... go, hit play on your remotes. All right, everybody. 1, 2, 3, go.
Oh, man, what a fucking weird ass acid trip of a movie this is.
Could you imagine, like, sitting in the theater and, like, that's the very beginning of the movie, just some cartoon lady screaming, being taken away by a monster.
Being taken away by some kind of rapey fucking, like, green bastard over here with horns. Fucking the knight in shining armor just fucking hanging out, gonna help her out. Isn't that funny? Like back in the 90s and 80s, they always like, oh, it's a fun comedy, whimsical. Let's open it up with like an animated kind of fucking opening, and like all these like classic like fucking Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. See, look, there's an ellipsis there. Better Off Dead. You on the Blu-ray, there is no ellipsis. They cucked out. They fucking
really.
Bowed down to the fucking the big brother, the fucking not very red pilled of them.
Yeah, on the DVD I still got the ellipsis.
Exactly.
Yeah, Mannequin even started out with a wacky cartoon.
Yeah, there's no ellipsis, so it's even easier to get it mixed up with the other movie called Better Off Dead. Very low T.
It is very low T. They're probably the reason they removed the ellipsis is they didn't want to get it confused with our boy Gary P. Cohen, how he did ellipsis, video violence when renting is not enough. They thought the audience saw that ellipsis was going to think, hey, when does the when renting is not enough part come up on the screen?
Exactly. See, do you think they went a little overboard here? He is very obsessive. Fucking, you remember when you had like this many pictures of your high school girlfriend, just like. As if she's like some fucking cover girl model. You got all these pictures on the wall.
I still do. But what I want to know is when did he have time to go on dates with her if he was taking all these photo shoots?
Exactly. Fucking big Chad over here with his camera.
Now, he wakes up with the ski goggles on, but I always thought the ski goggles weren't really ski goggles that he had. They seemed like they were like lab goggles.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. I remember reading like some kind of there was some weird thing where they had them wear like different kind of goggles while they're skating for the scenes, and it's like apparently it was hard to shoot because like they hired real skiers to do like the stunt skiing, and like apparently it was really hard for them to fucking see through these like goggles they had them wear. Apparently, yeah. I read something about that.
No, unlike you, Zach, I was actually alive when this came out. This movie came out when I was about 7 or 8 years old, and I can't remember if I finally got my mom to take me to see it or if I had to wait till video or what, but I remember, like, you know how just weird shit in a movie sticks out in your mind when you're a kid because, like, you don't know any better? That scene of him getting into the shower with his socks on, that blew my mind. Like, I thought that was something that, cool people actually did.
And what's funny is that's just scratching the surface of the weirdness that is this movie.
And I thought it was funny too, because like I always remember as the paperboy shit as being kind of like really just a recurring gag. Like rewatching it for like and I've seen this movie probably at least 30 times at this point. I used to watch this DVD all the fucking time when I first got it, but like it's like we're like 2 minutes into the running time. We've barely been introduced to John Cusack, and they're already setting up the paperboy shit with his dad.
Exactly. So like, yeah. So fucking basically, for those of you not in the know, if you aren't fucking red pilled on the Better Off Dead from 1985, with fucking starring John Cusack, Big Chad, fucking, you are in for a treat. This movie is like a fucking like just batshit crazy. Fucking like, who directed this movie? What was his name?
Savage Steve Holland.
Savage Steve Holland. You know what's funny is like, watching this movie, getting ready for the commentary, it was only my second time watching it.
Wow.
And like I remember the first time watching it, like it was a couple years ago, and it really made an impact on me. And I was like, yeah, I remember liking that movie. But then watching it again, preparing for this commentary, I was like, dude, this is like fucking top tier, like fucking comedy, and like this movie is just kind of perfect, and it has like that weird, just like what the fuck quality about it, like Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, like one of my favorite comedies. And like it's just like what the fuck, like it has everything. This movie it's got the fucking hot chick from she's playing the foreign exchange student. It's got the hot chick from Amityville 2. Who plays the sister. What's funny is like she wasn't even written as the sister in Amityville 2. She was just so hot. Like they fucking that just kind of happened by accident. Like fucking all that sexual tension. But very Chad.
Well, they set up that there's a problem with the paperboy because he keeps breaking their garage windows by throwing the papers out. Which like I get why the dad would want to go out there and open the garage door. So, you know, he couldn't break the last remaining window. But I thought it was odd that the dad, like, he tried to cross-dress in an attempt to turn the paperweight on to distract him. That was a weird touch.
Exactly. Like, if I was the dad at that point, like, you're going out there, you're basically scheduling yourself to wake up early so that you can go lift the door open on your garage door so he doesn't break another window. At one point, it's like, man, if I was him, I'd just go kick his fucking ass. I'd be standing in the road waiting for him to fucking pass and just fucking put a big fucking stick in the spoke of his bikes, fucking, like, fucking crash all over the place, beat the shit out of him. Little bitch.
Like they almost play it like the dad heard those baseball cards coming down the road and the thing. Now this has to be a set, like because this closet is literally bigger than his like actual bedroom.
Big shit. He's got fucking his fucking girlfriend is just on all the fucking printed out pictures of her and put her on his fucking like outfits. Like what a Chad.
So it looks like she's wearing his clothes.
Exactly.
This was another gag that like cracked me up was how the little brother he cut all the shit out of the sides of the cereal boxes so the dad he pours all the cereal all over.
That was always the thing. They always did that in TV shows. Like the guy who directed this went on to do a lot of fucking. When I watched this, I was like, this guy had to have gone on to a big career making movies, but he didn't. Like he made like 3, and then he kind of fell into like making TV shows, and he was like a big staple in like Nickelodeon, like 90s Nickelodeon and like early 2000s Nickelodeon, and then like Disney Channel shows like Even Stevens and fucking all these shows. It's like, yeah, that kind of fits. Like he's kind of like Dan Savage, the motherfucker from Nickelodeon, shows up in this movie at one point.
Yeah, because it's weird. Because I swear, because like you know how like when you watch like the Zucker, I think that's their name, the Zucker brothers, like airplane movies and shit. Like it has a certain like joke a minute style that you know you always feel it.
Yeah.
Like Savage Steve has like kind of like a joke a minute going, but it's always like a really bizarre. Like surreal joke a minute where like I feel like his like you can feel his sense of humor like penetrating all kinds of other shit that came after this movie, you know what I mean?
If I ever have a movie made about my life, I want that motherfucker to write and direct it. Like, holy shit, this
I
is
know.
like so up my alley. Fucking, I was surprised by how much I knew I liked it, but it was like I didn't realize how much I fucking like this movie. Like, yeah,
Oh,
we're
dude.
getting introduced to Diane Franklin right here, Big Stacy.
Big
She's
Stacy, she lives across the street as a French foreign exchange student.
Exactly, and she's basically gonna be the fucking hot chick that's there for our boy whenever he gets, dumped by Amanda Weiss. See, the whole point of this movie is that it's basically a black comedy about like a kid that gets suicidal when he breaks up with his girlfriend, and it's really just like a bunch of vignettes of just him fucking trying to kill himself and it backfiring and just like goofy little fucking mishaps he's going on.
Yeah. Well, it's funny.
It's
It's
so fun.
it's funny too because Diane Franklin plays the foreign exchange student. She's like imprisoned by this big titted lady and her obnoxious goober son.
That's Dan Savage. That's the guy who apparently people talk about on Nickelodeon. They're like, fucking Dan Savage. There's a bunch of stories coming out about him, but it's like there's no evidence that he did anything.
Yeah, I think you mean Dan
So
Schneider. Let's not throw.
Dan Snyder.
Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah.
This is a little recurring joke they have here with the guys trying to race him and the fucking cars here.
So this is funny because like this was another thing that stuck out in my mind was he always comes up on these two Asian brothers, and they explain later that they learned English by watching Howard Cosell and Wild World of Sports. Now the actual actor in the movie, he was bummed out because he practiced for like weeks and weeks imitating Howard Cosell, and then eventually they just went and got comedian Rich Little to overdub and do the impersonation.
Is that his boss right there?
Yeah,
I
I was gonna say there's like twice. It's really weird. Like he has this job at like Pig Burger, which reminded me of like a takeoff of Porky's or whatever. But like anyway, it might even be the guy from Porky's. I don't remember.
the guy his boss is the guy from Porky.
That's what I thought. But it's like he keeps rear-ending him or bumping into him, and like he's like ready to kill him. But like you never like you think it's just like some hillbilly guy driving around in a truck. Like it's not even until later that like you realize he works at the restaurant with him. Like it was set up like so poorly that it made no sense.
Am I like I always got the idea that like he gets the job at the burger joint like this like later on like maybe this is before you even met him.
That's what I was
became
trying
the-
to figure out
yeah.
this time watching it, but I was like,
But like yeah, when I was watching this, it was so weird watching this. It's like so real. How did he get Hollywood to fucking greenlight this this weird ass movie? And the only thing I could think of was that he had this idea, and basically he just shoehorned kind of like this '80s teen comedy idea of like, oh yeah, there's a ski tournament because you kind of forget the skiing stuff is even in the
yeah,
movie.
the skiing stuff is real peripheral. But it's funny too because I was like reading the whole biography, and the first thing he did was he made a short film that like pretty much a lot of his early shit was autobiographical, and he made this short film that was based on a true thing. Was when he was like I think he said 13 years old or something like young. He had a birthday party that nobody showed up except for a drunk clown, and like he made a short film on it, and like he meant for it to be sad and depressing, but everybody like when he showed it at film festivals thought it was funny. And the Fonz Henry Winkler saw it and was like, "Oh, I gotta have a meeting with you." And like Henry Winkler didn't really like work with them, but he just like introduced them to like a bunch of other people, and he wrote a script. And like they were just like, I think it was just at the time people were like, "Oh yeah, they're like teen movies are a big cheap thing. Like we'll make lots of money." So they were just like, because looking back, and this is based on his real life of like he did like kind of what happens in the garage where he tries to hang himself. Like he did that in real life, but the pipe broke, and then like that he hung the rope off of, and like all this water came in on him, and his mom just came out into the garage, started yelling and screaming at him. So he came up with this concept of a teenager who keeps trying to commit suicide.
Exactly. Like how do you sell that to a studio?
It wouldn't happen now. Like that. Like I know we always say, "Oh, you can't make that now," but like you really like there'd be so many people upset that you're like making fun of teen suicide. But I remember that was like the hook of the movie at the time. Like people thought it was funny that like he was such a fuck up that he couldn't like kill himself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, apparently there was some backlash over the original tagline, which was just, "You're better off dead," and they were like, "Fuck." The people were like, Fucking, you can't say that. So that, oh, you're never better off dead, as they changed it to.
Yeah, I heard that in the trailer that I just watched a second ago. Yeah,
Exactly. And we got fucking our boy Booger from Revenge of the Nerds.
Curtis Armstrong. Here. Yeah,
he's fucking great in this movie. He's like he's like some drug addict, and he's just fucking. At some point, he's like fucking blowing through fucking actual snow, like fucking. And it's like, oh, the left side of my brain just it froze. I can't move my right arm. Fucking the comedy in this is so fucking out of note. Like, it's so weird. But it's right up my alley.
Yeah, it is. And it's like, we set up, like, they set up with this opening thing. Like, you think this isn't that important because it's at the beginning of the movie, but they show him doing, he's trying to get on the ski team at school. And he's, like, really fucking awesome. But, like, that's another weird thing is the school just lets this, like, guy who's the captain, like, decide who's on the team. Like, there's no actual coach. They just let a student decide who's on the ski team. So he does an awesome run in time, and the guy just looks at the stopwatch and, like, just basically lies and, like, oh, yeah, he didn't make the qualifying time when he did, like, he was, like, really awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's how that bully guy on the ski team basically steals his girlfriend.
Yeah, fucking. And they set the bully guy up, the ski guy that steals the girlfriend, to be totally douchebag. He's got that goofy ass, like, douchebag smile. Very Chad.
Very Chad.
His name is Stalin.
Yeah.
Stalin.
It's funny they call him Stalin. But, what was funny, too, is the way that the guy Stalin got the role. He was actually an asshole in real life. He walked into the audition, and I guess because Savage Steve Holland was pretty young when he made this, like, he just saw him, like, sitting in the room and didn't realize he was the director, and he just insulted him, calling him a fat surfer. And then, he found out it was the director, and Steve Holland was like, "No, that's perfect. You're perfect for the role, Stalin."
Exactly. See, this here we're seeing him do another. Basically, the gag is every time these two guys show up and, like, challenge him to a street drag race, he always just fucking accidentally gets into a mishap with this fucking boss. Whether it's his boss right now or later, but, like, I just noticed, like, I didn't notice last night when I was watching it, but, like, every time he drives his car, he puts on those yellow rubber gloves. Why
those dishwashing gloves with the fingers cut off?
Just for no reason. Just, like, fucking just to make it weird.
Yeah.
And leave you guessing what the hell is going on in this movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was thinking, like, fucking this movie is so over the top and weird. I cannot do this movie sober, so I was like, I have to, like, this has to be like a drunken commentary. So I took a 2 shots of fucking what's it called, the fucking wild turkey. And I think we're gonna weird shit's gonna happen on this commentary.
So we're exactly 15 minutes in the running time, and he's already trying to kill himself.
I thought that was a fucking critter right there.
Oh, the furry thing, yeah.
Like, holy shit. Fucking our boy Mac, and I was listening to the Mac and Zach Critters 2 commentary, and Mac was very fucking drunk out of his mind making that, and he said the critters looked like they were wearing Joe Dirt fucking wigs, and I was like, that's so fucking true. I never thought
they do have weird haircuts. You know what's weird too? His friend played by Curtis Armstrong Booger. I can't remember what his name is in this movie, but he's really a major character in this movie, and then he's not.
Exactly.
He just as soon as the new love story of John Cusack trying to date the French girl, all of a sudden Booger just disappears out of the movie.
Yeah, it's so weird too. It's like fucking, like, you never know, because the movie just it runs really quick. Like, there's not like a single instance of downtime to me, and it's fucking like you kind of forget like he was there, and then when he shows up again, it's like, oh, fucking Booger, I forgot he was in this. Very Chad.
So we're getting close to the 20-minute mark, and that's supposedly the mark when John Cusack ran out of the screening yelling at Steve Holland.
Yeah.
The movie was terrible. Was it this part? Because this is one of my favorite parts as a kid, when the mom makes the Jell-O that's, like, alive and, like, squirms off the plate.
Yeah, this is like, if you're basically, that's kind of the gauge of whether or not you're going to enjoy this movie. If you don't enjoy the first 30 minutes, this is not the movie for you.
Yeah.
There's, like, the fucking weird humor. And, like, yeah, the mom earlier, we talked to her, but, like, is she reading, like, is the cookbook she's getting these recipes from, like, the cooking with fucking toothpaste collection or something?
Yeah, because everything she makes looks like it's got toothpaste and shit.
fucking shit like 8 cups of AIM toothpaste, fucking that gives it that flavor.
Well, you know what's funny too about like the family or whatever? Like they make fun of the dad like a little bit later for being like, you know, out of touch with kids or whatever. But like other than that, like the dad is actually normal, but the mom is fucking insane.
She is very, yeah. He apparently she was kind of based on his real mom. She used to do shit like this, where she'd be reading weird cookbooks and making like these weird fucking recipes, and then every time it would suck, but she'd kind of blame it on like, oh, I didn't have enough flour, and that's why it's bad. And she would just keep trying, fucking making these weird ass recipes. Apparently, she just wasn't a very good cook.
Yeah, it's like, and the mom always stood out to me, and I didn't know who she was as a kid, but her name's Kim Darby. It turns out like she was actually famous. I guess when she was really young, she was known as having like the role of the little girl in the original version of True Grit or whatever. But it's funny. Like I know her from like the most random shit, because like I know her from Better Off Dead, and then like Halloween: The Curse of Michael Myers.
Hell yes.
when he chases her through the clothesline.
The old lady that he kills, and it's just like, fucking, she was nice. Why did you kill that sweet old lady?
Yeah, it actually was like one of the very few times, in all honesty, it's one of the very few times that you actually feel bad about somebody getting killed in a slasher movie.
Exactly, fucking. She like I guess. See, these are like the daydreams he has, or like fucking goofy ass shit right here.
Yeah, like I love this part where he's playing football and he runs through the people's picnic.
Exactly, very trauma kind of humor. Mm-hmm. Like just running through the picnic. I remember thinking that while I was watching it. Okay, but Amanda Weiss is a Stacy in this.
Oh, big time Stacy. I guess we should mention Amanda Weiss is probably most famous as being Freddy Krueger's first victim. She was the girl in the first Nightmare on Elm Street that got killed in the bedroom, and like Tina. Yeah, Tina. Exactly. And then like her body flew up all in the ceiling.
Exactly. I was watching this, being like, fucking, I don't remember seeing Amanda Weiss in a lot of stuff. So like watching this, I was just like, I'm just gonna assume this takes place in the Freddy universe, and it really works. Thinking that.
Well, Freddy is in this a couple times. Like I'll try to point him out when he actually is. Yeah. Like you know how like Freddy Krueger movies, they always have like somebody who, like when you're in a dream sequence, there's like somebody there who's like actually is Freddy, but it's not Freddy. It's just somebody wearing the like the sweater or whatever. Like yeah, like that happens a lot in this movie, and I think it definitely was like Steve Holland doing it on purpose or whatever.
It had to be, yeah.
But Amanda Weiss, I swear to God, man, like because I follow her on Instagram, she pretty much looks the same. Like now, like same hair, same face, everything.
Exactly. Fucking right there, they had a little joke if you're paying attention. Like he's doing the fucking overdub because it's supposed to be like, oh, he's sitting there and it's two high school kids and they're awkward and they're fucking like worrying, like, oh, is she looking at my nose? Like, fuck, she wiped her nose. Do I have something running out of my nose? And if you listen to what they're saying underneath the overdub, he says something about Nazis or something.
Yeah.
Just like something that's like, why the fuck would he say that? Just like they're playing with like, it is very Naked Gun type of humor where it is like fucking, if you're laughing at one joke, you might miss the next one. You know what I mean?
It's always weird too because that rag that he like wipes his face with, it always looks like a pair of panties to me.
Hell yeah.
Now I thought it was
like
funny that the little brother cut the side out of the box out of the cat like food.
Yeah.
What send-away items did you get on the side of cat foods?
They did. They did that joke a lot in Nickelodeon shows, especially where it's like, oh, you get the prize, you got to cut the little proof of purchase out of the fucking what's it called, the cereal box. But it's like, you ever notice that it's always only in movie logic where like they cut it out and then the cereal just comes out. It's like in real life they don't just put cereal in a box; they put it in a bag and then put it in the box.
Exactly.
So technically, you could have cut that fucking proof of purchase out, and it wouldn't have made any difference. But for the movie, it's like, oh, is this fucking coming right out of the box, or they grab it?
I mean, I guess technically you could like puncture the bag, like if you're just cutting it from the outside. Now here's where the gag gets set up. With the paperboy comes back, he's owed like I think 20 weeks of newspapers for $2, and supposedly this was based on a real shit too. As a newspaper boy kept hounding Steve Holland for $2.
Exactly. One of the funniest gags in the movie happens with the paperboy later in the
It
movie.
does.
But fucking like,
Couple scenes, yeah.
it's kind of playing on that like, oh, he's a kid and he owes debts, but it's just like fucking in this movie he's just like a paperboy because he's a kid. Fucking like usually you watch a movie and it's like, oh, the character that he's flawed character, he owes debts. It's usually like with a bookie and he's like a gambling addict or something. But in this movie it's a kid, so he owes a debt to the fucking newspaper boy. Very Chad.
So that scene that went by right there, it's John Cusack's driving to school, but every song on the radio is a breakup song, and it's making him sad about his girlfriend. So he pulls the radio out of the car, throws it out the window, and somehow the radio is still playing until it like scrapes down the street and finally goes rah, rah, rah. Like it's like
Exactly.
It wasn't a tape; it was the radio.
Exactly. Fucking the editor was just fucking. He was not paying attention. He forgot how radios work for that gag.
And it's so weird too, because like watching this again, like there's so many classroom scenes with Amanda Weiss. It totally reminded me of like these. It made me feel like the school scenes from A Nightmare on Elm Street. Like it has that look to it. You know what I mean? That same '80s movie look. Now we got to talk about my boy Vincent Schiavelli here, because this movie has some Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Ties. Amanda Weiss apparently was in Fast Times as well. I don't quite remember who her character was. I don't remember if she
must have been a really small character, yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember if she was maybe one of the cheerleaders or something like that. I know Kelly Maroney was a cheerleader in Fast Times, but Vincent Schiavelli was the teacher in that movie too, and took the class on a field trip that Spicoli crashed, and they went to see the dead body or whatever.
Oh yeah.
But it's kind of funny. He's almost playing the same character. I mean, he always acts the same, but in Fast Times, he was like the weird, ugly teacher who had a young hot wife. And in this one, he's trying to get in the pants of Amanda Weiss.
Yeah, it's a running joke that every time, like, fucking basically a bunch of different people ask him, like, oh, I heard you broke up with her. You mind if I, try to date her? Fucking, like, at one point, Barney Rubble says that when he's turning through the channels and he lands on the Flintstones. Very Chad.
Yeah.
And our boy Russell from fucking Biodome shows up, and it's like, fucking Russell, how did you get a job? He's a fucking mailman, and even he asks if he can fucking plant the moves on fucking Amanda Weiss.
Oh, I'm so stupid, man. I just looked it up. Amanda Weiss played the girlfriend of the Judge Reinhold character in Fast Times, where like they break up, and then I think at first he wants to break up or something, because he thinks he's going to get all these girls, and then he doesn't get any girls, so he just misses her the whole time. So it's like she's pretty much playing the same role, not twice in a row, but like 2 times in like a 2 or 3 year period. I love this shot, like looking down at the like 30-foot tall blackboard. Like that's the thing, is like there is a lot of cheap like little goofy gags, but then they do like a lot of like really hard work visual stuff like that. Like they built that whole set for that blackboard shot. And then, like, when they do the stop motion later, and then, like, the closet earlier, they built a whole set just for one joke. So, like I know this was a low-budget movie, and they said he finished it actually early and under budget. But, like, they really, there's some jokes that they really go out of their way to set up.
The movie is actually, I would never guess this is someone's first movie. It seems like they just fucking know what they're doing. It works so good.
Yeah. Now, they kind of set it up that his cool car that he bought, his Camaro, it doesn't run. It's, like, under a tarp in the driveway. And they kind of, set up that he needs a cool car to, like, get his girlfriend back or whatever. But this station actually is pretty good, because it's big enough, the back of it, that they can have sex in it.
Oh, yeah, fucking, you want to do that. You want to fucking a nice car to fucking pound your girlfriend, Amanda Weiss, in the back seat. Fucking make her my own, baby.
And I liked it when they were having sex, like there was guys stealing the wheels off the car.
As you do.
I remember,
hell yeah.
Yeah, I remember this drawing he did on the blackboard of the big pregnant stomach is like being a big, I don't know, maybe it was in the trailers or something, but I remember it being like a really big gag, like when I was a kid, but now when you watch it, it's like one of the most like nothing gags there is.
Yeah, you forget about that one. Like, yeah, this really is one of those movies. Like, yeah, fucking, there's just so many jokes, and it's like, fucking, how can you ever know? Like, you get the feeling you can watch this over and over and notice new jokes that you never noticed before.
Yeah, for sure. And it's funny too, because like all the kids in the class, like they were so excited, like they're actually, acting like very artificially. They were so excited to learn from the teacher.
Very Chad, exactly.
Yeah. Where, like, most movies, like, everybody hates the teacher or whatever.
There she is, fucking Big Stacy.
Yeah, he doesn't even know he's so obsessed with the other Stacy. Which, like, I mean, I can't blame him or whatever, you know. It's like, it's Amanda Weiss. But, I mean, come on. When there's fresh Stacys right in front of you, what are you going to do?
He's got a fetus in that pickle. Like, you think that's a pickled fetus? Our boy?
No, like, you can tell. I watched it on my big screen last night. You can tell it's actually a baby pig.
Dang.
Yeah, but it's curled. The way it's curled up, it does kind of look like a real fetus. Now, this is the best part here where the teacher asks him, like, this is where this gag starts running, like, hey, I heard some things around school, you know, that you think he's going to comfort him, like, hearing he had a breakup with his girlfriend. But then he wants to know if he can ask her out. I'm like, imagine a teacher asking a student if he can ask another student out on a date.
Fucking Chad. That's what you gotta do. You gotta become a teacher just so you can fucking get the chicks that are on the rebound, baby.
Yeah.
There's Dan Snyder.
Yeah.
Fucking all these weird stories about him, like fucking apparently when he's casting people, he looks at their feet and it's like fucking see, I hear stuff like that and I'm like, I don't know, fucking I'm not. Is that like something like people are just easy to throw around now? It's just like the term like pedophile.
I
like
think
maybe.
so.
Like, this motherfucker, he worked for Nickelodeon. Like, for all we know, it was a show where, like, the whole fucking cast of characters were feet. Like, they had a show where you just fucking... What was the show where, like, it was... The whole cast was just, like, people with their chins upside down and they drew faces on their chin.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Fucking, yeah.
Imagine it after they filmed every single episode, a guy just went down the line and plugged him up.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Boy,
we'll get back to Dan Schneider in a second, but that was the Jell-O snorting scene.
Fucking snorting that Jell-O. You ever try that?
No, but I always like wanted to do it from watching this movie, but then like by the time I only eat Jell-O like once every 10 years, so by the time I get it, I forget about it, you know.
The idea of snorting anything really like just like I can't see myself ever, like it just seems so weird. Yeah, I hate when like fucking I accidentally drink something and then I laugh and then it comes out my nose. It's just not a comfortable feeling.
Speaking of which, when they showed Ricky earlier sitting with I think what's the French girl's name? Monique, Diane Franklin. I can't remember if it's Monique.
Yeah, I forgot. Fucking just call her Diane Franklin.
Yeah, Diane Franklin. But yeah, when she was sitting there, they had that dank ass Hershey's chocolate milk carton sitting on the thing. I always saw that Hershey's chocolate milk carton sitting, like as product placement in movies. I've never been able to find it in my entire life. Like, I don't know if it's just something they make special for schools, cafeterias, or whatever. Like, I've found like the plastic bottles you can buy, but that's like not the same. Like, I've always wanted. It looks so good with that. Like, it looks just like the wrapper of the candy bar. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I saw that. The cereal box cutting scene. There was a cereal called it was Captain Crunch, but it was like the chocolate fucking what do they call it? Like fucking the chocolate pebbles or whatever they are, the fucking chocolate berries. But they can discontinue that cereal. It's like, that sounds fucking dog.
It does. I always love this scene too, where he's talking to the drawing. I like the earlier scene too, where he spilled all the cat food and the cat came like right on cue into frame to eat it.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, like he's drawing pictures and fucking talking to him. They're like the stop motion animation. It's like, yeah, you could tell like fucking this is like the kind of movie like you think you want to make when you're a kid making movies in your room, like with your fucking camcorder. It's like fucking incorporate everything that's fun to do with the video camera, fucking stop motion, all this shit. And he's getting ready to hit on a new Stacy. Fucking Big Chad over here.
Yeah, Chris Cummins. There's that Hershey's chocolate. I'm like, oh god, I want to drink that so bad. Yeah, so Chris Cummins is like the hot cheerleader of the school that dates the entire basketball team. And like, you have to see it real quick. I never noticed it. Like, if you look at right there, the basketball team, they actually just eat baby food out of jars.
Yeah, like, was that just like the fucking? I saw that trivia, but I didn't notice it on screen. Was it like just something to like because that's all they had, or is it like something you're supposed to like notice and like, wait, are they eating fucking baby food?
Well, I think it's supposed to be because like they're so like mentally dumb because they don't even speak in sentences, they just grunt. Now this was like, one of my, like, I thought this was hilarious when I saw this as a kid because he's on roller skates trying to impress her, and then he falls and like in one fell swoop rips off her whole clothing, her cheerleader outfit.
Exactly. Fucking. So we gotta like try to imagine when it was that John Cusack ran out of the fucking theater thinking his career was over, and it's like it couldn't have been. Like I can't see it at all.
It had to be the Jell-O thing. There was when the teacher drove by with the Beth, the girlfriend, and I love this scene too, that he's committing suicide off the bridge, and his friend Booger just happens to be driving by on a motorcycle, or not a motorcycle, but a bicycle.
He's the one that tells me, it's like, fucking suicide is not the answer. Fucking hell yeah. And like, yeah, that's one of those things. It's like I wasn't alive back then, so like I was wondering, how did they market this movie? Did they fucking like, yeah, because it kind of does end in a way where it's like fucking it all kind of works out, and it's like, oh hell yeah, fucking suicide, fuck that. Like, the depression it's temporary. Like, you're gonna get through it, baby. You just gotta. It takes a while, but eventually it goes away. It subsides, baby.
Here's the joke that reeled me in on the TV commercials as a kid, when he falls in the garbage truck and the two black guys, which, by the way, it's Stephen Williams, the captain from 21 Jump Street. This is when he was still doing like speaking extra roles. And the two black guys, they're like trimming trees or power lines or something, and they see him roll by in the garbage truck. He waves to him, and Stephen Williams says, funniest line probably in all of cinema. He said, "No, that's a damn shame. People throwing away a perfectly good white boy."
Exactly. Especially when it's John Cusack. Would you John his Cusack?
I would until I heard he hated this movie, but
fucking, I probably would John Cusack. I would John that Cusack so hard. Fucking, there wouldn't be any Cusack left for me for anybody else after I was done.
I'm sure. I mean, he's a star of a stage and screen. I mean, how could you not?
Exactly. Fucking, I recently discovered another fucking John Cusack classic, Tapeheads, that you fucking you introduced me to. Very Chad.
And I only discovered that movie because I saw it in a $5 DVD bin at Kmart one time, and it was back when I was like buying up just about anything that had an actor that I liked in it. You know what I mean? I was just like, that blew my mind, because I never even heard of that movie before I watched it, so I had no idea, and I was just blown away by the whole like, what do you call it? The like the music video theme of it. I was like, that was a cool idea for a movie,
Another just oddball comedy that it's surprising got greenlit. Like, fucking the way Hollywood works and the suits. It's like, fucking, how could you fucking pitch this to them and then be like, yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
So instead of paraphrasing, I'll try to read some of this trivia about what happened with John Cusack. Apparently they're having a screening because they shot this in One Crazy Summer, like almost back to back. Like, they were just about to shoot One Crazy Summer when this was finished editing. So they had a screening. It says he ran out of the screening after 20 minutes. And the next morning, John Cusack said, you tricked me. Better Off Dead was the worst thing I've ever seen. I will never trust you as a director ever again, so don't speak to me. And like, Steve Holland said he didn't understand like what was wrong, and Cusack just said that I sucked and I was the worst thing he had ever seen, and that I used him and made a fool out of him and all this other stuff. So like, Cusack thought he was going to come off as this big fucking Chad in this movie, and I'm just like, and I've seen other quotes from Cusack just saying like, oh, it wasn't as dark or whatever as he thought, and it was just the movie didn't turn out the way the script he thought. I think he was just like, he thought this was his shot to be like the next Tom Cruise or something after Risky Business came out a couple years earlier. Like, I think he thought, this will be the movie that will catapult me to leading man. You know what I mean?
It's possible, yeah. And it's possible that his fucking agent was telling him all that shit. Like, oh, yeah, this is what you gotta do, babe. This is what the kids want to see.
So I never knew that shit. And I heard, not heard, but I just read some commentary. I was reading like background on this, and they were saying like, the only reason he went ahead and shot One Crazy Summer was, he was contractually obligated to. There was no way to get out of it. Not like our boy, John Boyega. John Boyega, he don't like what you serve for lunch that day. He's walking off that film and you're shutting down. But
I'm actually excited to watch that movie now.
I am too. Yeah, the Blu-ray comes out in like either it came out today or it's coming out next week. I can't remember which. But yeah, I'm going to have to get a hold of that soon. But yeah, like I've seen people's critiques, like, and I always thought Cusack was good in One Crazy Summer. And that was another thing too, is I always loved Better Off Dead. And, like, it was, like, one of my, like, Better Off Dead and Jim Carrey's Once Bitten were, like, my two favorite comedies as a kid, like, hands down, big time. Mm-hmm. And I always liked One Crazy Summer. I saw it, you know, on cable a bunch, but I just never put two and two together that it was, like, the same director, because it had such a different, like, setting and plot, you know, it was, like, more of an ensemble movie.
Yeah.
But, like, yeah, like, some people have claimed that, like, Cusack, like, you know, he looked bored or he was, like, whatever. And it was, like, I don't know. It's hard to say, though, because if he didn't like acting, like, I would, as an actor, shit, man, I would love to fucking get up every day and go film Better Off Dead, you know, film all this weird shit. Like,
hell yeah.
Like, maybe he was just trying to look more cool when he did One Crazy Summer, you know what I mean?
It's probably one of those things where he wanted to be the Tom Cruise type of actor, and he just wasn't kind of, like, the way he read the script, it wasn't kind of like, he wasn't seeing the dark comedy kind of stuff in this. And then, like, fucking, he probably, like, had a big backlash at first, but then kind of like fucking it grew on him, and he was just like fucking, you know, fucking. He probably doesn't want to admit that, like, I want to be the next fucking Tom Cruise or something. He fucking no, it was just the script wasn't. It was darker than I thought it would be. But like we talked over fucking our Dan Schneider. Like, his little arc is fun because, like, basically he's the kid that lives next door with his mom, and like fucking the Stacy ass French exchange student is living with them because, like, she's got somewhere, she's got to live somewhere, and that's who she's teamed up with basically. And like fucking she's basically, you find out towards the end that she's been faking, like, she does speak English, but she just doesn't want to fucking, like, because, like, he's basically like, I'm the only one fucking around. Like, all I gotta do is, like, fucking not let her see all the other kids at school, and fucking she'll fall in love with me, baby. He's doing that shit. But fucking, I can't blame him. She's Stacy.
Exactly. That was just the Christmas scene where the mom gave him frozen dinners for Christmas, and that was true too, because Steve Holland's mom gave him frozen dinners for his birthday one year. And it was, I don't know where this came out just to be funny, but like the weird animal costumes, like the mom is almost like a furry or whatever.
Yeah. Here's our boy Russell right here. How did he get a job?
Yeah.
Fucking President Clinton, I think. But like I was going to say too, like, I can see that, like, as a kid, getting fucking frozen TV dinners for like Christmas would be like fucking lame. But like watching it last night as an adult, I'm just like, I can deal with that. Fucking hell yeah.
I'm looking at Cusack's biography, and it just floors me because he really had like glorified extra parts before this. Like, he did The Sure Thing, Better Off Dead around the same time, and I guess also The Journey of Natty Gann, which is a more serious Disney movie. But like, yeah, like, I just don't know why he had such a fucking attitude. Like to me, like, I would just be like, oh, I'm starring in a movie, like, it's going to be awesome. Yeah.
How big was his role in 16 Candles?
It was real small. Like, he's just like the lackey of Farmer Ted, Anthony Michael Hall. Like, I think he only has like one or two lines, and like he's just standing around, like, in the background of scenes. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, he's not even like a character in the movie.
I figured, yeah. I didn't remember him in the movie, yeah.
So that was our boy Taylor Negron as the mailman, and like, that guy had a knack. I think his biggest role was playing the villain in The Last Boy Scout. But during the 80s, he had a knack of just, he'd always play these like great like tiny character roles. Like, he was the pizza delivery man of Fast Times at Ridgemont High. And, like, he just would, like, show up in a movie for a minute, but he was so recognizable, even though he was, like, literally a guy that always just had one line, two lines in the movies. You know what I mean?
If I were you, I'd go out and hump for the next year.
Biodome. By the way, we got to thank the listeners, baby. The Biodome, I don't know why, but Biodome, about 4 or 5 months after we released it, all of a sudden it's got a newfound life. That's the new classic that everybody's digging on in the download category. So thank you, listeners. I was a little disappointed because I thought that was going to get a huge response at first, and, you know, it did okay at first, and then it really dropped off for 3 or 4 months. And then I looked at the stats again the other day. I'm like, holy shit, why is Biodome getting all these downloads in its 5th month of release? Like,
they all bought the Blu-ray because, of course, you do, and then realized there was no commentary. So they're like, I got to get my Biodome commentary fixed.
They burned it to CD and put it in the case with the Blu-ray or DVD.
So look at this. Fucking he's spraying with his deodorant and just like fucking just a fucking cloud.
Yeah.
Of it. It's like I feel bad for like because as a kid you always have those movies that kind of teach you how to do something. Like I remember as a kid, like it wasn't like Home Alone, but I remember like seeing a movie where a guy used aftershave, and I was like, fucking, oh, you gotta do that. It makes you smell good. Like I didn't really put it together in my mind. You know what's funny is I didn't even know until like really recently why aftershave is a thing. Like it's supposed to like soothe your skin after you like cut it all up, fucking shaving it.
But it makes no sense because it's always burning. Like, especially old school old man aftershave. That shit burns and dries the shit out of your face. It does the opposite.
Yeah, and one of those weird things where like the things like you think you know as a kid, but like you never. It's like a blind spot you have because you think you have it figured out while you're an adult, and then one day you just like realize like fucking, oh, I guess I never really thought about why exactly you use aftershave. But I guess fucking it soothes like your skin after you kind of like cut it up a little bit while you're shaving. Fucking that makes sense. But like here's his dad set him up with his boss's daughter, and like fucking she's got these metal braces. It's like I would still hit that.
Oh
Not bad.
Yeah, I wouldn't care. She just doesn't want anything to do. Now we have to talk, now we're on really Stacy alert though because we got got the school dance with our girl. E.G. Daly, Elizabeth Daly, singing the song. She was a great '80s actress, of course, in the movie Valley Girl, and then she did a lot of soundtracks, and she played Dottie and Pee Wee's Big Adventure.
I did not realize she sang, and you could tell this is really her singing. Yep. You can just tell her voice. Yeah,
like almost all the movies she was in back then, she sang one of the songs on the soundtrack. It's kind of like a combo deal of why they got her.
I know her the most by Tommy fucking Pickles because I was a '90s kid, grew up on Nickelodeon. And like they were very forthcoming about showing you who the voice cast was, so I knew like by the time I'd seen like fucking Pee Wee's Big Adventure and I saw Dottie, I was like, oh, that's the chick that plays fucking Tommy Pickles, very Chad. But like here she is just fucking singing the song, and yeah, you could tell it's her. She's not like lip syncing to somebody else's song.
Her dress was falling out. Yeah, okay, here's the scene. 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you.
Yeah.
3, like, it literally is the Freddy sweater, like the original version of the Freddy sweater.
That's the thing, too, is it's like, that's funny, too. Like, he basically, like, he shits on them, and then fucking our boy Booger just, like, laughs at it. Like, fucking, it's just the best. Like, that's actually pretty funny. Like, I wonder how a boy would react if you just laughed at it. Like, not, like, that actually is pretty funny. Like, they can't fucking like. Well, fucking. I guess it didn't hurt his feelings. Fucking. But I guess it was a good joke. But like, yeah, that they had to have done that on purpose because they don't just sell striped sweaters that look like the Freddy sweater.
Exactly.
Like if you go to a store trying to find those specific colors, they never have them. It's almost like fucking Wes Craven must have like patented those colors being on a striped sweater.
Wes Craven's fashions.
Exactly. It's like I always just wanted a fucking a real Freddy sweater, not one made to be like a Halloween, like just like a Christmas type sweater, like that I can actually wear. Fucking like that'd be Chad.
I thought it was so weird, Ricky's interest there, that the doors burst open. He's all dramatically backlit. It's like, why?
Like the hero shot.
Yeah, exactly. Hero shot for a turd character.
Exactly. He's on top of the world because he got the big Stacy living with him. Fucking see, if we could watch this movie from his point of view, this is probably like he's probably going on. His life is probably a day-to-day John Hughes type comedy adventure. He's just like, oh my god, I got this hot chick. It's like fucking weird science all over again in his world.
It's funny too because like the school dance parts apart so Ricky can do his big dance. It's like everybody loves this guy even though he's an asshole.
He looks a lot like Josh Peck.
Yeah, he does.
The kid from the Nickelodeon show Drake and Josh.
And that's one of the ones that our boy made too. So
he worked on it. Yeah. He had to have been like fucking. We got to hire this kid because he looks just like me.
I think we touched on it. His exit from Nickelodeon. There was all this like because he worked for them I think for 18 years, and then he said according to him he just needed a break, and now he's back working with them. He needed to take a year off. But yeah, there was all these weird scandal rumors and shit, but never like any real accusations that I could find about him.
Yeah, like it's always just people like saying shit on the internet, And it's like he was really weird with fucking Britney Spears' sister. It's like, well, why are we hearing that from you and not Britney Spears' sister? Like
Exactly.
she doesn't say anything bad about him. They seem to like they were business partners, and like it seemed like the fucking relationship was fine, just like working together. Like fucking, why speculate?
Yeah, especially in this day and age, like, wouldn't Britney Spears' sister be suing to get some money from Nickelodeon? You know what I mean?
Totally, yeah. Oh, it was because Britney Spears, she had to quit doing the show she was cast because she got pregnant out of nowhere. And they were like, Dan Schneider's like, we know it wasn't Dan Schneider. She had a boyfriend, and it was like, you're just making shit up.
They thought Dan Schneider, who was probably in his late 30s by then, knocked up Jamie Lynn Spears, who was like 16 or 17 or whatever.
Exactly. Here's where our boy meets her for the first time, the Stacy, the fucking Diane Franklin.
It's kind of interesting too, because he really is like a Chad. He just has a confidence crisis. Like, that's the thing that I actually like about the movie is, like, if you watch the trailers and shit, it's just like, he needs to fucking die. He's a loser. He's better off dead. But it's like, when you watch the movie, he's an awesome athlete. Just the guy fucks him out of a spot on the ski team. Like, he had the game and everything to get that girl, you know, Amanda Weiss, and keep her. It just, like, she was just looking for somebody with clout, you know what I mean? She just was basically like a whore. And then this girl, who's like, you know, I don't know, like, probably in the top 3 attractive girls of the school, she's dying to go out with them. She's like usually the movies are all about the guy trying to get the girl, but this one's about the girl chasing after the guy, like, a little bit, you know what I mean?
It really is a thing we all go through where, like, you get the feeling that this is kind of his first love and his first real breakup.
Yeah.
And it really does. It does fucking, like, it just
Take a
run
lot
you
out of
through
you.
the coals, baby. But, like, yeah, it's like one of those things where when you're an adult and you see another kid going through the same thing, it's just like, man, you've got nothing to be sad about, man. Like, you'll get over. Don't worry about it, baby.
Yeah, exactly. It's weird that how, like, when you're older and you look back, you're like, why did I even care so much?
It's something that you literally can't teach somebody by telling them from experience. They just have to learn it themselves. Not very Chad, but like we all do it, baby.
Oh, we sometimes multiple times in your life. So what can you do? Now, coming up here is like one of my favorite scenes in the movie. Is like, I like how he's like just in front of the school and he starts to walk away. Like, for some reason he parked his car on a street like blocks away instead of in the school parking lot. That's another thing that fascinates me about movies, how people just park their cars on random streets, leave the windows down, walk away. But yeah, he like takes, it's like a field next to the school kind of thing, like a hill, and it's all backlit, ominous. It looks like a horror movie. And like now the Paperboy is showing up with multiple Paperboys. Like, you kind of can't even really tell who the original one is, kind of, but they all look the same.
I thought that was like a gag, like the Freddy Krueger thing, where he's like paper, and then he fucking turns around and he's on the other side. Like, it was just like he somehow got over there. Yeah, but it's just a bunch of Paperboys, which is funny because it's like he's getting hounded by fucking Paperboys. He's getting chased home by some fucking kids.
I love this scene, man. All the fog and the spotlights going through the air, like. It's so awesome, man.
It's reminiscent of Danielson when the dance scene where he's got to fucking get home. All the bullies chasing him.
It's probably a parody of that now that I think about it.
The whole movie kind of seems like it could have been a parody of like the teen comedy.
Yeah.
Like kind of crazy going on. But it works. I don't know why this movie is. It seems like it's always remembered by people. So, like, the horror community kind of seems to remember it, but they always kind of seem to remember it for one scene, which hasn't happened yet. Yeah. And it's a good scene. It's like the most kind of like outlandish, goofy scene in the movie. But like, to me, the rest of the movie is just as memorable as that scene.
Well, to me, here's another great thing, because the little brother ordered a book, How to Pick Up Trashy Women. He's just got a room full of porn stars, and like. Like, it never, like, dawned on me, because I think it's supposed to be New Year's Eve. Like, it never dawned on me, like, until recently. It's like, how come, like, he's so depressed about not having any women? How come he just didn't go in that room and, like, hang out with them?
The joke is that his brother is better at picking up women than he is.
And we should...
His little brother?
Yeah, his brother's 8 years old.
He's got, like, a bunch of, like, grown adult women hang out in his room, and he just closes the door. Did you notice the Graduate reference there?
Oh, no.
Like the scene from The Graduate where he's like, "Oh, you're already seducing me, Mrs. Robertson." This shot through her legs, and you can see him in the doorway.
I totally didn't notice that.
Shot. And now she's like cooking a fucking, like, what the fuck? It just gets more and more outlandish with his mom's cooking mishaps.
Yeah, now she's got like squids and shit in a pot.
This is the goofiest scene in the movie, and you showed me that. What was it? The
Yugoslavian.
Yugoslavian poster. This is what they decided to put on the poster.
Yeah.
Just him with like a bunch of Q-tips in his mouth while he's brushing his teeth and like in his ears and shit. And then they put like some random chick that isn't even in the movie.
like two of them though. There's like two chicks. It's like the same looking one, but it's like a double image.
I was like, is that supposed to be Amanda Weiss?
Yeah, it's because she's the only blonde in the movie. But I thought it was supposed to be like the hookers from the Little Brothers Room or whatever.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Really weird.
If you want that Yugoslavian poster, you can get it $200 on eBay. I should say, because I was looking for the real posters. The real posters, ironically, for this movie, considering it wasn't that big of a hit, the real posters for this, there must not have been many made because they're rare.
Yeah, fucking. I always love that too when you find a movie that you love and it's like you don't hear people liking it.
Yeah,
and it's like this movie, no one talks about it. The poster must be super fucking like cheap, and then you go there and it's like, oh, it does have
it's like,
kind of a following.
Yeah.
That hat they make him wear in this though at his job is fucking genius.
I know, the pig hat. I should say, yeah, that restaurant was a real restaurant at the time, and they just like put the graphics over the real sign of like the fake name, you know.
This is the scene that everybody remembers that I was alluding to a little bit ago, where he's working at his job. He tells him like, "Fucking oh yeah, I make the hamburgers this way and shit." Like there's a little gag here where he's like, "I'm gonna go wash my hands." He's like, "You wash your hands on your own time." Fucking making him make all these burger patties with fucking dirty hands. And like right there, he's like, "Oh yeah, look at the fucking marquee," and it's just like it playing up on the whole like fucking a hot woman. Just to sell stuff. It's like you wouldn't even notice anything on that marquee except for the hot woman who's like half naked with her side boob action going on.
I always thought too, it's got to be a reference to Porky's, right? The Pig Burger's name, because like Pig Burgers makes no sense. I mean, there's never, unless you put bacon on top, there's never any pig in a hamburger patty. You know what I mean?
Exactly. He makes a big ass fucking hamburger patty that actually, like, I would eat a burger that big. This big ass patty he makes here.
I would too.
Fucking Frankenstein monster patty.
Well, you know what's funny is the payoff to this scene is like, because you know he's just sitting around doing nothing, and finally the guy's teaching him like, okay, make the hamburger this way. Like I thought this was like at like 8 o'clock in the morning before they opened or something, because he's like the only cook back there, and he's not making anything. But then later we see there's like a packed restaurant of customers.
Exactly. See, this is a King Cobra JFS size burger right here. This is the kind of burger you put, and you're not going to be able to cook it all the way through.
Yeah, this is the one where the grease is running all the way down your arms afterwards.
I still can't believe he did. Like, I can't believe the person that does that exists.
I know.
Just like letting grease, like he's a fucking pig in a trough. That's just amazing to me. I couldn't even imagine, like, if something was that greasy, I would have to put it down and eat it with a fork. But he just keeps going.
I would get like a napkin and daub the grease off of it.
This is literally like, if I had to guess a scene he might walk out, I would have guessed this scene where he's like fucking doing the Igor, fucking like mixed with the Frankenstein type of like goofy caricature where he's like putting the fucking burger on there and he's rising it up, and then it comes back, and this is the fucking big what song do they play? They got an Eddie Van Halen, basically music video.
Van Halen, yeah, everybody wants some.
This fucking claymation hamburger just starts fucking bebopping, dancing around, playing the Eddie Van Halen guitar.
You know what's weird too though is the claymation hamburger makes me hungry too, because it doesn't look like a real hamburger, but it looks. If you watch some fucking shows like Cake Boss or whatever, where they make like a cake that looks like a hamburger, that's what it looks like the icing and shit.
The fucking teeth, the gap in his teeth is a nice touch.
Yeah,
very SpongeBob SquarePants over here.
And like they must have clearly had the music rights already, because like the catchphrase of Pig Burgers is on the signs and everything. It says everybody wants some, and which I want some too, which is the name of the song they're playing. And then the little hamburger, he actually plays like the Eddie Van Halen type guitar with the plaid stripes and shit on it.
Hangs out and dances with the Stacy hamburger lady.
Yeah. Which everybody talks about Lola Bunny, but the lady hamburger and then these French fry ladies, they're sexy as hell.
Hell yeah.
Some of them have almost Asian eyes.
What would you call that? Like fucking the furries? Fucking what do you call people that are sexually attracted to fucking food?
Oh, I'm sure it exists. Foodies, right? Foodies.
We need to make that a more common thing in movies so that like kids have their sexual awakening, because that's what makes furries. It's like kids that have their sexual awakening watching things like Space Jam and noticing like, holy shit, Lola Bunny is fucking Stacy.
Like you could rub her butt and it would be all furry.
Exactly. Amazing.
This is a good scene too.
Yeah.
Fucking he gets seen by his girlfriend and the fucking new Chad boyfriend.
Yeah.
Did you notice right there he puts the hat on the kid as he's leaving?
Yeah, that's why, because he gives the kid the hat. I always thought he got fired there, but later he breaks into Pig Burger at night to have a romantic evening with his new girlfriend.
I assume that was just like a fucking thing he did just to make the kid laugh, and they just kept it in the movie. Because you can see the kid laughing, and they just kind of edit his laugh out of the soundtrack.
I could see that. Savage Steve kept it.
And they're probably like, oh, it won't even show on the VHS version. They'll only be able to see it for a little bit in the theater.
So like now we're finally getting back to the ski thing, because he wants to do the ski thing to show up the jerk guy. But like they never really come out and say this, but you just got to put two and two together from the beginning that he was a good skier, but now that he's lost his confidence, like, and plus it's a hard hill to ski down supposedly, but a New York man's right suicide by fire.
That's probably the darkest joke. New York men commit suicide, and they have a picture of the monk
who burned himself.
Yeah, that was on the album cover of like Rage Against the Machine.
Now even Barney Rubble is asking if he can take Beth out now on the TV. I thought that was a great surreal touch.
I would have fucking popped a big boner and hung out with Barney Rubble. Like, want to date my Stacy? Hell yeah, Barney. Let's vibe on some shit. Fucking, what were you thinking when fucking Fred just started fucking he sold out to Big Cum and he started fucking doing those fucking cigarette commercials? What were you thinking?
I was disappointed with them.
Fucking sell out.
Yeah.
You know what's funny is I didn't notice it last night when I was watching it, but like I thought that the ending where the fucking space shuttle busts out of the house, I thought that was just like a weird way to end it. Like fucking just in case you didn't think the movie was batshit enough, now a fucking space shuttle just bursts out of their house for no reason. They actually did have a setup to it. His little brother bought build your own space shuttle kit.
Yeah, they like. Now this is funny where the mom's trying to. She's like, I made the food that you eat in France. She goes, French fries, French bread, and then Perrier she calls Peru.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, they set it up twice because first they show the brother at the breakfast table with like filling out like the pamphlet to order it, and then right there they showed Cusack looking at the box with the instructions on how to build the space shuttle. So like they were really setting it up. So like I think it's kind of like it kind of plays like not as good that they put it in the end credits when it should have been like legit into the movie. You know what I mean?
It works. It works either way.
Because like the special effects get really bad, or at least on the DVD. It might look cleaned up on the Blu-ray, but like because they have like all that grit and like double grain from laying the credits over top of it. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
It looked kind of shitty.
Yeah, like a weird way to think. Like I always like notice that when I'm watching, like especially like really old movies like black and white.
Yeah.
You notice like the fucking all the shit they had to go through to make just a simple like dissolve transition from scene to scene. It's like you realize that they had to like basically animate it. Like fucking...
yeah, they had to layer like glass plates on top of the film. That's why like whenever you get a Blu-ray now of like of a kind of lower budget 80s movie. Like, you put it in, you're always disappointed, but then when the credits in, all of a sudden the picture quality gets twice as good,
It's almost like I'm surprised they even came up with that back then, and that's not just something they came up with later, like whenever it was like YouTube or computer-style editing.
Yeah. I always thought it was weird, too, that he has that jar of primer that he's dabbing on himself because he wants to set himself on fire. And then, like, Ricky's mom thinks it's a jar of liqueur, and she starts drinking it.
Yeah, this the oddball fucking like comedy of this movie. Fucking he's putting that shit on him so that he dies from fucking catching on fire. She's right next to him, lights a cigarette, and blows up, but he's fine. And it's just like, I'm sorry, your mom got blown up. I thought she was just legit dead.
I did too, yeah. I was like, how come he didn't catch on fire? Yeah.
Oh, they're showing up again. They're gonna fucking challenge him to another fucking race in his car with the Stacy and the fucking the beta Dan Snyder in the backseat. He can't. He's got people watching him. He can't refuse.
Yeah.
Fucking people will call you a wuss. They'll call you chicken like Marty McFly.
Well, he actually kind of does refuse finally, and it's Monique, Diane Franklin, who puts a foot on gas because she's like. Because he's explaining who they are, that they immigrated and they learned English from Howard Cosell.
Of course, her name is Monique. That is just the fucking pinnacle Stacy name, Monique.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
Why is it Stacy? Why is it not Monique?
It should be double Stacy. I like how you can just see like the San Fernando mountains. So like if you pay attention to the dialogue, this is supposed to take place in Northern California, but it's so obvious that they shot it in hot ass Southern California, and then they did all the snow shit. They went over to Utah for a little bit to film that.
Fucking Utah. All the Mormons hanging out.
Yep. I always thought that was funny, the gang of nuns walking across the street. Hell
yes.
And it's so weird that he just floors it in reverse to make this jump into the pond.
This is the Chad shit. Like, is that his parents' car?
I guess so, because they always refer to the Camaro as his car. You know what I mean? So it's
yeah. Isn't this the last time you see it? He just kind of wrecks his parents' car and is gone.
Well, no.
You think
because he drives it out of this puddle apparently, because he just drives it right to school, but it's all muddy. Yeah.
Wouldn't that be funny if whenever like the Stacy Monique fixes his car, his parents are like, "You fucked up our car. This is our car now. You're just back to not having a car."
They just took it. I mean, he really doesn't deserve one. I mean. Take the bus. All he does is go to school.
Exactly. But yeah, fucking, she's having a good time. Fucking, his little hijinks, his little fuck up there. It's their first bonding moment.
And the ducks are very important because the ducks make the gag here when he opens the door, and the ducks get out and go to the school with him.
Chad, he gave the ducks a ride. That's what you do.
It would have been really Chad if just like the ducks were like following him around for the whole rest of the movie.
Do ducks fly?
They do, but like I've seen them just like kind of like skip across the pond or whatever. You know what I mean?
I don't know if I've ever seen a duck fly. Now that I think about it,
I have, but they only fly like they barely lift up out of the water. Like they'll fly about like 2 or 3 feet above the water, and they'll just fly like about maybe 30, 40 feet across, and then they'll land back in the water. I don't think their wings are like that strong or whatever.
So see, he was doing them a favor, giving them a ride.
I always wonder why he did this. Like he's finally having lunch with Monique, and he just got like a bunch of Hostess snack cakes, and that's it for them to eat.
That's a fucking the snack of a king when you're in like fucking 5th grade and you get home from school.
I like how Ricky throws this dork's book and he has to chase it like a dog.
Yeah, see, like he's the kid that fucking you think like he's bullying people. Like fucking this is the kid that should know the dangers of bullying.
Exactly.
Like. That just like rejuvenated my mind. Remember back when you were a kid and you got home and you just found a big box of fucking zebra cakes and it's just like, hell yeah.
You just went to town because nobody was around to stop you. Yeah.
That's big Chad shit. That's big cum shit.
Yeah, the blonde hair bully in this movie, man, he's like so much like that 80s bully that you would see in like Revenge of the Nerds and all that.
Mm-hmm. I can see why fucking he just shows up making fun of the director and he's like, "Oh, you're fucking perfect. You're a douchebag."
Yeah, because he totally has. I mean, he's a skier in this, but he totally has like that surfer like bully attitude of like, "Hey, we're like totally like a rich boy asshole."
I was thinking too, like the scene where he was listening, he was driving down the road and all the sad songs were going on. Do you think that was falling in love with this movie was John Cusack's? Like whenever he wrote High Fidelity, he wrote in that little that point he made about like, isn't it weird how we allow these sad fucking pop songs to be on the radio when we know that teenagers are gonna be driving around listening to that whenever they just broke up with their girl. He that's not exactly what he says, but not verbatim, but kind of the point he was making. Yeah. And it's like, was that his way of fucking making one with the great film he made, Better Off Dead?
It could have been. I was just thinking like I know Cusack was in a lot of shit in the 80s, but a lot of it was like, You know, I guess like it is now too, but movies would come and go. Like some movies would just like literally play the theater for a week or two. Like, I mean, this was kind of like one of those movies. But it's weird that Cusack got all this clout by the mid-90s, be producing his own movies and be a leading man and all that. And then it just seemed like around 2004 or 5-ish, like just all that went away. Like just nobody gave a fuck about Cusack anymore.
He's not in a lot of stuff nowadays either, yeah.
A lot of direct-to-video stuff. Like for a while he was kind of doing like the real, like actual independent movies, and now he's just doing like the shitty tax shelter, you know what I mean? Like action movies where it's like he's not even playing like a real character anymore, you know? He's just like there acting goofy.
It is time to rejuvenate his career with fucking Better Off Dead 2.
Exactly.
Better Off, but would it just be Better Off Alive? Would it just be Better Off Deader? Fucking, how would they play on that title?
I think it would be Better Off Divorced, where he's going through midlife crisis. And like they rewrite it where like afterwards he broke up with Monique because she had to go back to France, and then he actually got back with what's her name, Beth, because he won the race. But then it turns out like his life was miserable, so now he's better off divorced.
He has to get divorced because she's getting deported. Something like just goofy off the wall. Yeah. He's got to be just as goofy as this one.
It's just like the ski shop guy comes up in a wheelchair with the arms broke.
Hell yeah. See, this is like when I was watching it last time, I'm like, this literally seems like the only way they can get this greenlit was like, okay, I got this weird ass movie, but like I took it to Hollywood. They said, I don't know what to do with this. So the only way I can get this greenlit is if I shoehorn kind of the teen sports kind of thing at the end of the movie.
And that's kind of what it makes me think of when I was watching it.
But it's got to be like a cool sport that's cinematic to look at, not just boring shit like baseball or football. You know what I mean?
But then, like, that can't be how it happened because, like, yeah, you were mentioning, like, it was kind of written around the idea of, like, something that happened to him when he was, basically the same thing happened to him. His girlfriend left him for, like, the ski guy. Yeah.
So here's a joke where just the paperweigh's on top of the roof. And if you notice, it actually is the real kid at first. And, like, this area around here, like, this looks like almost like the Burbank, Glendale area. But yeah, like it was the kid at first, and the guy who played the kid at the time, he said like he actually cracked the windshield just hitting it with that newspaper. He was proud of that. But they actually had that kid strapped to the front. But I like when Cusack, to get rid of him, he drives the car through the car wash, and the kid goes, "But I can't swim."
Oh yeah,
like you're really swimming in a car wash.
It is very Nickelodeon logic. It makes sense that he went on to do that, like kind of Nickelodeon type of humor, kind of, but like more adult.
Yeah,
because the suicide kind of overtones and stuff.
Well, it's funny too if you think about it, because like, okay, this movie came out in 1985. I can never remember if the movie Heathers came out around 88 or 89, but Heathers makes fun of a lot of the capitalization and the media kind of vampiring off the whole teen suicide craze, because it was seen as like an epidemic at the time of teen suicide. I guess the numbers were really high at the time, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
it was probably just because they were reporting on it.
Yeah, but it's just weird that like you know, this movie kind of makes fun of suicide, and Heathers, the whole thing is like they're killing people at their school, but they're making it look like suicide because suicide is like the trendy thing to do at the time. Like it's a very different decade for you know, teenagers. The way like now teenager shit is just like buy this iPhone, listen to this rapper that brags about drugs, and it's like there's not a whole lot of like actual movies coming out that comment on like actual teen issues. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because it's like they're so hard to fucking like meme culture. It's like I don't want to fucking try to understand these fucking
kids. I'll just look like I'm out of touch.
So I guess this is a good time to say to mention. So like
Monique does speak English, and she has a fucking Stacy ass accent.
Very Stacy, yeah. And like I was watching an interview, and like Diane Franklin took French in school. I guess that was so she really was able to speak the lines and then keep the accent. But like she can even like redo the accent now. I was just watching a second and like before we start recording, she did an interview in a park. So it looked like some cable accent shit. And the girl asked her, "Oh, you really speak French?" And she went into it. It sounded exactly the way, you know.
Oh fucking! I would have done a big right there in the interview. Big
We got to go to a convention and meet her. She's always She's always at conventions. She's like happy to meet fans and shit.
She seems really cool. Yeah. Genuinely happy to fucking be there and like that people enjoy the movies.
So like, yeah, so at the time, it's kind of unfortunate, you know, how we say, oh, Steve Holland should have had a big career. Like, yeah, it's unfortunate because like this movie actually made money. Like, it wasn't what you would call a hit, but they made the movie for $3 million. I'm sure marketing wasn't that expensive back then, and it grossed a little over $9 million at the box office. So it did triple its budget. But they said they were comparing it to the grosses of Fast Times, which did like $30 million. So like they were all disappointed with this.
That was a huge fucking movie. Like, why would you compare it to that?
It's like that thing of like you notice, Zach, like when a horror movie comes out really cheap and makes tons of money, then everybody starts making cheap horror films and they expect them all to make like $100 million. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, so he was already, by the time this was like ready to, you know, before it came out, they were already shooting One Crazy Summer. And One Crazy Summer did a little bit better. I think the budget was a little bit higher. That did like $13 million. So again, it was another one, Crazy Summer, where it was, you know, and also the test scores for Better Off Dead were like through the roof when they did the test screening. So they're like, oh, you know, that's why they offered him One Crazy Summer right away. But like it was another one where like, yeah, it made $13 million, it turned a profit, but they're like, this isn't enough, so we don't want to give you any other movies. And then his third movie kind of, I've never seen it. Like I always see it like streaming. I mean to watch it, I never do. But How I Got Into College came out a few years later. It's not really a Steve Holland film because it was a situation of the movie was getting made and they fired the director like right before shooting or a couple days into shooting. And he hadn't made a movie at that point in like 2 or 3 years. So like when they asked him, he just came and did it. But he said the script wasn't that good and they were just ad-libbing, trying to make the movie funnier as they shot it. But it was like, I still want to see it, but it's like, it's kind of sad that his feature film career, you know, ended on a note like that.
Yeah. So that, like, yeah, he found out Monique is just, she's faking that she can't speak English because of the fucking, the people she's living with. She doesn't want to fucking like basically that she doesn't like the kid. He's like got a crush on her. She's trying to like stay like fucking you know, keep that like oh, I just don't know what's going on type of thing. But she's fixing his fucking car like a total Stacy, and he thinks she's fucking it up. And like, and then she turns it on. She's like, that's when you know like I married this woman.
Yeah, and like I had a dark thought the other night when I was watching this. I was like, you know, the scene after the dance where like Ricky and his mom just pull Monique away from John Cusack. I was like, it would have been a really funny like gag if like after they peel out in the parking lot, you just hard cut to at their house, like Ricky is just nailing Monique really hard. she's just sitting there like mortified.
Oh no, yeah.
Fucking our boy Dan Savage, he does get around.
that was that. Even though his name isn't Savage, that's what makes him Savage.
Fucking, why do I keep doing that?
Because you're thinking of Savage Steve Holland.
Yeah.
Savage Steve Holland.
I do that so often too.
Savage Dan Schneider.
I mix up the fucking last name or the first name.
Yeah, because like Dan Schneider, he was on. I can't remember if it was at the same time or right after this. He was on that sitcom Head of the Class, and that's what I kind of knew him from. Like, I mean, I knew him from this movie, but I never put two and two together. There was the same guy because he looked different, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, like that whole Dan Schneider thing. Like, I was late to the party that happened like a year or two ago, and I just found out about it recently. I just came across something. I was like, wait, why are they mad at this guy? And I read like 3 or 4 articles, and it's like, yeah, you know, the feeling really is that he did something wrong. I'm just like, I didn't read one single accusation from anybody. And I'm like,
I know, yeah.
It's just like, you know, it's one thing if somebody's like, oh, 20 years ago this happened, and it's like, whatever. But it's another thing if nobody says anything.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's just like, are you trying to manufacture some kind of Me Too story here? Like, if nobody said anything, and you're just like, something had to have happened, bro. He just seemed weird, bro.
Yeah,
working on all these kids shows.
It's like, well, like, yeah, but when he started doing them, he wasn't that old of a guy, and then you're making good money. Are you going to walk away from making, like, a lot of the people in kids shows that make good money have been doing it for a long time, and it's just like, why would you leave the business? Like,
it's like the idea of like somebody just coming out and implying that Pee Wee Herman ballroomans was like He plays a weird, like, he's like fucking 50 years old at least, and he's just playing like a weird kid. Like, there's just something weird about that.
He's clearly boning hard because we all know about Michael Jackson. So we
see. I knew who Dan Schneider was because I was a '90s kid. I thought, oh, it's the guy from Good Booger, and the guy who shows up on like fucking all that and says like, oh, it's time for the show to start, kids. He comes in and tells them what the fucking the thing on his the headset on, all that shit.
Well, you know what's weird too? Like, just like head of the class people took over kids' entertainment industry because then the other guy that was on head of the class, Brian Robbins, he was a big director of like those kid shows and also a lot of kid movies. You know what I mean? So.
Oh, here's where it all comes to a head with the fucking the street race guy. Now he finally got his Camaro running because of his Stacy girlfriend. He pulls up next to the guys that keep fucking challenging him, and this time he's got the upper hand on them because they're fucking caught off guard, and he's the one that fucking issues the fucking challenge, basically just by looking at him. And they're hanging out with their fucking Stacys, eating some Chinese food, and he's just like, fucking, you ready? Hell yeah.
I thought this scene was amazing because the Asian brothers who always won a street race, they got their girlfriends in the car. They're all eating takeout food, and they're just parked in the middle of the street eating there, like totally. Like they're not even like they're not even like parked on the side of the road. They're like in the middle of the street. And I'm like, does traffic just not come by this suburban street ever?
That's what you do when you're a Chad.
Yeah. Like
these mofos. And see, look, this is where I kind of got the feeling that it was kind of like bringing it all together, like fucking, like, yo, we all get fucking depressed when we break up with our first love, baby, but like it's only temporary. You just gotta find that fucking that reason to fucking be stoked, like fucking every day is an adventure, especially if you got this hot fucking French Stacy to share with, even if you're just. You're not at a nice restaurant. You're just at your goofy little fucking burger shop. It's all good, baby.
The accent alone would be enough for me. I wouldn't be depressed anymore.
I would have already big cummed in my pants.
Oh,
and like, she would have went to sleep very unsatisfied.
See, now this is the time of the movie because there's like a lot of scenes that are just jokes and thrown in and aren't really integral to the plot, or like really throughout the movie. But I'm glad they're there because it just makes the movie whole surreal. But this is like the point of the movie where you're like, what the fuck happened to Booger? Where is he?
You fucking see. Maybe this movie has it's basically making a statement. It's like John Cusack. He was not one of those guys who puts his bros before hoes, as they say. Yeah. Whenever you find a new woman and your friends are like, you're not hanging out with us very often anymore. He gives no fuck because it's like, I got Diane Franklin. She was like that Stacy from fucking Amityville 2, and she was the one of the babes on fucking Bill and Ted.
You know what's crazy because Diane Franklin was also even though she's such a lovable actress, she played a real bitch in The Last American Virgin.
I know.
And I was reading an article, like an essay a guy wrote about Better Off Dead, and then underneath it. There was like all these comments and somebody brought up Last American Virgin. Everybody's like, oh, that was so horrible. What happened to her? The way those sex scenes are filmed in Last American Virgin. You can see her pubes and it's so disgusting. And so, and like there's like multiple commenters on this webpage talking about, oh, Diane Franklin, she didn't deserve what happened to her Last American Virgin. I'm like, did you fuckers never see Amityville 2? Like never?
Oh yeah. Like she gets down with the kinky shit in movies, tell ya. Yeah. Look, he's playing the sax solo, very Chad.
Very Chad.
I was thinking, like, if you could master any fucking brass instrument, it would have to be, like, if you could just flip a switch and, like, you master it, it'd have to be the saxophone.
Yeah. I played saxophone for, like, a year in high school.
It just sounds like pure sex.
It does.
Like, fucking, you get mega laid playing the saxophone. Be that oiled up guy in fucking Lost Boys.
Oh, yeah, the way he's jerking and shaking while he's blowing it all hard. Yeah, they cut back to the hamburgers in love. I thought it was cool that they actually really exist.
Hell yeah.
They weren't...
This is funny. She gives him the same advice her Booger gave her. Fucking Booger gave him. Yeah. Fucking, you just go really fast that way, and then if something's in your way, you turn.
Yeah. I think that's totally a dude stunt doubling for her, though, right?
Now, are they wearing masks there? Is there a mask on her right there?
I think it's just the goggles, and I think
Yeah, it was really weird because like I was watching it and I was laughing because I was like, "That's so funny." They put like, "Oh, it's obviously a stunt double," so they put a mask on it and like just made it so that you can notice. But I don't think it's a mask because like on the later scene, I was pausing it and I think it's just like an optical illusion that's happening because of like the film grain and stuff. Like I think like maybe they got like a real, skiers to play it, and it's just because their face is like beat red because it's like cold.
Yeah.
And then they cut back to the actors that just came off their fucking set with the makeup and everything. It's just like it's kind of like, oh, that's what it is. It's just but that he wipes the fuck out right there.
I think he slides down the whole mountain on his stomach. That was actually a good double for Cusack. It kind of looked like him.
Exactly. See right here, you're just hoping she just mounts him and they just start fucking doing a sex right there
On the
in the ski
middle of the
lodge.
mountain. Yeah.
Would you be able to get a boner in that cold though? Like the cold?
I mean, if you're talking about actual ski mountain weather, I don't think you really could, in all honesty. And if you could, it would be so fleeting that,
Exactly.
like maybe if you're in a tent and you're insulated that way, then I guess it would just out in the open like that. No, because in order to like pull your pants down to get going with that, your ass would have to be in that snow and your balls and everything.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Maybe that just adds to it. Fucking that adds to the experience.
Well, if you're like Booger and you're just shooting it up your nose, maybe he could do it.
Exactly. Fucking, and then it hits that part of your brain that fucking makes you get a boner, and fucking like you don't have to worry about it anymore.
It's like you have to do a shot of like adrenochrome to override the cold factor. I like this how they like that's even a cool shot where they keep skiing through each other's legs and finally they crash.
He's learning how to ski for the first day. They're already doing these intricate fucking trick type of skiing moves.
Exactly. I always thought her. Yeah, he's just wearing like random shit. But I always thought her ski outfit was cool.
Fucking big Stacy.
And the way she wears that giant headband on her curly hair.
The fucking 80s headbands. Yeah. Awesome.
I like how Booger is actually a skier too, and he wears a top hat when he skis.
You think fucking Slash was ripping him off?
No, I think if you look at the way Booger is maniacal right there, that top hat and the way his hair's coming out, I think he's like supposed to be like one of the ghosts at the Haunted Mansion, one of the main ghosts.
Big Chad.
So I think everybody was ripping off the Haunted Mansion.
I always thought fucking Booger was the guy who did the fucking Rex from Toy Story. Something about their voices always seemed similar to me.
Isn't that like Wallace Shawn, like that super nerdy verse?
Yeah, he's got like he's a big, but for some reason I knew Booger more than I fucking knew who that guy was.
The guy who plays Booger, I think his name's Curtis Martin. Like that guy, like he pretty much played Booger, but it was like such a great character in every movie he was in, where he played it.
Oh yeah, fucking. You ever see Rick Moranis and Tom Arnold classic Big Bully?
I have, but a long time ago. Is he in that too?
He's in there too, Big Chad.
Well, speaking of which, I guess we should mention not this movie, unfortunately, not Better Off Divorced, but Savage Steve. He wants his last film to be a spiritual sequel to One Crazy Summer called One Epic Fall, and he's already got Bobcat on board, Curtis. I can't remember Curtis Armstrong, I think is his name. Curtis Armstrong, yeah. And then Doyle Murray. But yeah,
you know what?
He even said there, unfortunately no Cusack. I'm like,
That's big. Too bad. That would be cool. But like, they should have like jumped on the marketing thing and made the Curtis Armstrong, and it's just a Stretch Armstrong, but made to look like him, made to look like Booger.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. I would actually buy that now.
I do a big cum.
So they're getting ready to do the big race, but it gets fucked up because Booger actually ran over his ski and broke. So he's only got one ski, and plus he's got the Paperboy. The Paperboy put skis on his bike, and I thought that was great skiing, where he's just going down on the bicycle.
Exactly.
So
and then the ultimate demise of the Paperboy too coming up.
So if you notice the actual race in the movie, Zach, they actually tie. But because test audiences hated that, they had to edit around it to make it seem like Cusack really won.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so this was one that scored big with test audiences, but then it like came out and And it was it just the wrong kind of month to put out a movie?
I think so, because I could look up the release date, but I was watching one of the TV spots on YouTube, and it said that like at the end they're like, sneak previews coming this October 5th or something. So it's like if they release it in October, it's like it's kind of like whatever. But also too, I was reading that the paper boy, he took a wrong turn and went off the side of the mountain and died.
You just see a dummy falling.
I'm surprised. If you listen closely without our commentary track, you can hear him yelling, research flat Earth, as he's falling to his death. He actually didn't die. He got up right there. Fucking more Nickelodeon logic. It's like, we probably... See, they always did that Nickelodeon, like all that. You'd see fucking, repairman, man. They just drop a dummy, it'd fall to the ground, and then they just cut to the real actor standing up. I'm like, oh, it's fine. I always humor like that always just kind of makes me laugh. I don't know why.
Yeah, we'll have to make a compilation when we find a couple more movies of things of people falling through the air screaming "Research Flat Earth" as it happens.
Exactly, it happens all the time. Like we gravitate toward those movies too.
But the article I was reading, it was mentioning that '85 was like the year of teen movies. It was like Breakfast Club, Back to the Future, Weird Science, Better Off Dead, a bunch of other ones. So it's like, I think it was just a crowded marketplace for this type of movie. And like I said, I mean, like if you grossed like whatever it was, $9.3 million in an age where movie tickets are like $2-3, it actually was, and especially like this movie came out in '85, so like right around that time was when video stores were taking off. They made crazy profit off this movie. I mean, it made a profit in the theater, so any TV sales, HBO sales, because supposedly it got popular off the playing HBO a lot, because I know I watched it over and over on cable. So, I mean, it's like, yeah. So it's like, here you notice they do tie, but it's just because he did it on one ski, he kind of...
Mm-hmm. In a better universe, this movie would have got a fucking spin-off Saturday morning cartoon about where the fucking hamburgers is buddy and they hang out and go on adventures. When he's not fucking his Stacy girlfriend.
It's weird, too, because, I mean, the two movies have nothing to do with each other, but, like, in a weird way, like, this is, like, if I had to recommend a movie to somebody who really loved the humor of, like, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, I would recommend this, because, like, they're, like, the two goofiest movies of the 80s, probably.
Big Chad, Big Calm movies.
Yeah.
You know what's funny is last night I forgot the ending, and I thought this was actually going to end this way, where they come back and take her off, and it just kind of ends with him getting his girlfriend back.
Well, that's what it looks like, because his girlfriend, Amanda Weiss, like, runs up to him, Beth, and kisses him, and he just goes along with it, like, he kisses her.
He just kind of takes it, and he's, like, happy and smiling, like, oh, this is great. And then they come, fucking I almost said Savage, Dan Snyder shows up with his mom. They're like, there you are. And they just walk off with it. I thought it was just going to end like that. Did they really just end the movie like that?
Like 45 minutes away, they drove to the mountain to go find her. Like, oh, so they knew that's where she'd be. I'm actually always surprised when the Asian brothers show up at the end to interview him as Howard in their Howard Cosell voice, because like it's like, oh, they actually really are into sports, not just drag racing.
They had to. They were made humble by him. He beat them, made them humble, and they were like, you know what? Fucking he is a Chad. We should give him some props. I
mean, don't get me wrong. I still love this movie now as much as I did when I was a kid. I would still, as a kid, I would rate it a 10 out of 10. I still would rate it a 10 out of 10. It's one of my favorite movies. But just the way you, like, remember things as, like, being different in your mind when you're a kid. Like, I remember this end part. I thought it was so cool when they fought with the ski sticks. But, like, I remember it as, like, this big, epic, like, Star Wars sword fight, but when you watch it, it's really just the two guys slapping at each other with the sticks.
Look at that! He just put his boot. Oh, I was thinking he had ice skate logic. I was like, he just fucking cut right into his stomach. He just opened him up, but I forgot. They're just ski boots.
Well, it's kind of funny because you think Ricky would be like a big dork who gets bullied, but like how he kind of bully kids. And then, like, they play him like he's, like, so physically imposing because he's big. Because, like, yeah, Cusack tried to kick him and he just, like, bounced off of him.
Oh, yeah.
And I was looking at it, too. I was like, he really fucking bounced on whoever was, standing in for his mom there. I hope that was a stunt lady and not the actual lady.
Mm-hmm. But it's all good. Like, we thought, like, he was just going to, like, let the fucking... let Schneider come and take his new Stacy away and just go back with his fucking Amanda Weiss Stacy, but it's like nope, they still got the fucking Hollywood type ending where it's like fucking he goes with the new girl, and then like even our boy fucking Schneider finds a young Stacy to fucking put his love into, if you will, fucking our overgrown Josh Peck, if you will, here.
So yeah, I thought this was weird too that there's just this random nerd girl shows up to want to like have a crush on Ricky, and like,
oh yeah,
you know, it would make more sense to me if instead it was that girl that he tried to take on the date with the big braces, like
with the
or the retainer or whatever it was.
I wonder if they thought about that, but then like they couldn't get her back, so he's got a different braces girl.
Well, it's weird too because the mom is like, Ricky, where are you going with that girl? Like she's like, you know, upset because she's getting cucked that her son's being taken away from her. But like, what's weird is like, well, no, the whole movie you wanted him to have a girlfriend, and now he does.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so this is funny. Like we said, you know, in order to kind of, you know, establish that the skiing, you know, area was not too far from where they lived. They said in the dialogue, so, you know, about it being in Northern California, but then they drive all the way to Dodger Stadium because that's where Monique wants to go. So they literally just drove like 9 hours just so they could go park their car in the middle of the baseball field at Dodger Stadium.
Did you notice that something about that shot looks super awkward? And I think it looks like they like accidentally filmed it in the wrong aspect ratio or something, and then had to like zoom in or crop it. And so it looks a little like stretched out or something. Something just looks a little weird about it.
Well, it's clearly a helicopter shot, so I think it's just that it was so unsteady. Because if you look at helicopter shots in old movies, like the stabilizers weren't as good. Because the paperboy comes riding in for his $2 at the end of the shot, but you can barely see him because the shot wasn't timed out that great. You know what I mean?
Oh, I thought that was supposed to be Booger, like their buddy, just showing up. I didn't even...
it's the paperboy. Okay, so here we have the big payoff of the brother flies the rocket out of good special effects for the most part. Just you can tell the fire explosion is kind of laid in, but overall it looks real.
The joke is that the dad finally got his fucking his windows fixed on his fucking garage door, and then now the fucking whole house is just fucking destroyed by the fucking sun.
Wait.
They planned on a fucking his Stacy ass fucking French girlfriend. They were gonna do like a kind of a thing with the Dodger Stadium. She was like, she basically like let Dodger Stadium know like, oh yeah, we should do like a little like kind of a thing to promote the movie, and I'll come out and do a signing or something. But like something happened where they like got shit mixed up, and instead they had her come on to like sing the national anthem.
Right. Yeah, I did read about that.
She's expecting them to come out and say, oh, now Diane Franklin from Bill and Ted and Better Off Dead. But instead they just come out and say, and now Diane Franklin. And she's just like, they don't know who I am.
Because she wasn't like a big star yet.
Which speaking of, that's one thing. I mean, actually I have multiple complaints. But the newer Bill and Ted that just came out last year, like they're like, oh, we can't have the original wives. They're too old now. We got to get these women in their early 40s to play these women that should be in their mid 50s. They should have had fucking at least Diane Franklin come back.
Exactly.
She looks the same. I mean, she looks older, but she looks the same hair, same face, everything. You know, she never gained weight.
I always forget that they actually recasted her in the second Bill and Ted movie. It's like, why did they do that?
Yeah.
Fucking very low T. It's a weird double standard Hollywood has for like older women. Like older guys, like they're fine. Like, oh, they can sell a movie, but like the older women, it's like, no, we gotta fuck. Anytime it's like a 50-year-old guy who's like the dad in the movie, they gotta make the wife like a fucking 30-year-old or something.
32-year-old, yeah.
Yeah. Really weird.
I was gonna say, did you notice in the stunt performer credits, one of the stuntmen on the film was our boy Dick Werlock?
Chad.
Yeah, played Michael Myers. It doesn't obviously specify what stunt he did, but he did some stunt on the film. Are you gonna bring up how he's always just walking very slowly, looking straight? I could. I remember I was listening to your guys' fucking Halloween 2 episode where you're like, look at him, he walks like fucking Frankenstein over here. He's just walking straight, yeah. It was a good walk, though. It wasn't as good as the original, but by itself, it was great.
At the same time, though, it's like you're really not gonna look down at your feet while you're walking downstairs. Nobody does it. Even a mental patient wouldn't fucking trust that he's just gonna fucking not miss a step there.
Exactly. Especially when you're on like strange stairs. Like I know you don't do it in like your own house because your brain is used to the timing of those steps. But like, that'd be funny if Michael Myers just ate shit walking down some stairs.
That would have been fucking hilarious, actually.
Yeah.
And then it just like, and the movie just keeps going, like it doesn't play it like it was a gag at all, and just like serious.
I was gonna say one thing about the car. The last bit of trivia is one thing about the car was I just came across this randomly today. Was the Camaro was obviously it wasn't like fucked up. It was in good condition. They just made it look all I thought it was funny they had cobwebs inside of it, but anyway, like. Yeah, so like it was in good shape when they filmed the movie, and the car actually belonged to I think it was like the transportation coordinator, the guy who supplied like the cars for the movie or whatever. Like it was his own personal car. And this movie came out in '85, and they sold it in '89. He sold it off to somebody, and then like the car went missing for years. And I'm not sure how they verified it was the same one, but it got found in 2002. Somebody had just, I guess, driven the shit out of it and sat it in a yard, and it was like completely rotted away and shitty. And somebody bought it and completely restored it, and it's been in some museums and car shows. So like,
that's literally where it should be. The fucking car from Better Off Dead, Chad movie, fucking piece of art.
I mean, it's so iconic at the end, the way they're driving around and shit. But, like, you always wonder sometimes when you watch movies, you're like, what happened to these cars? And, like, some of them get kept and shit, but the majority of them just, rot away to oblivion or whatever.
You know the first thing I would do if I got to sit in that car? I would fucking do a big sniff of the fucking passenger seat and see if I could still smell Diane Franklin. Oh, hell yeah.
I would probably sniff the driver's seat, too. I mean, John Cusack sat there and whatnot.
But, smell that John Cusack.
Yeah, you would. You would be smelling it.
Oh, yeah.
So that's, it's kind of funny because this is like, I don't know if we ever discussed in the past doing it like with other people or whatever, but like, it's kind of funny that I think you recommended this movie because it's like, it's really like, this is one of the main types of movies and one of the main movies like we should have covered in the early days. Like, I don't know really why we didn't, be honest with you. But,
oh, yeah.
Because I always felt like this movie had, gained that like that cult reputation off of cable and shit. But I think we're kind of at that point right now where like, I guess because it hasn't been on Netflix recently or whatever. Like I feel like it kind of is slipping back into obscurity a little bit. But
yeah,
probably not having any decent home video releases doesn't help either.
Why the fuck isn't Criterion jumping on this?
Yeah, I don't know what the deal is with Paramount. I saw somebody saying, because the Blu-ray, I didn't even know it was out for years. That's why I've been sticking with this DVD. I didn't realize till like a year or two ago that it even was out on Blu-ray. And then it's just like you said, it's just a bare bones. But Paramount's been doing that Paramount Presents line, and like this would be a perfect one. All they have to do is get Steve to come in and do a commentary, which I'm sure he would fucking jump at the chance to do. Oh, and they can definitely interview Diane Franklin anytime they want. She's so, personable and friendly or whatever. So I hope this gets some kind of, especially now that like a lot of Paramount's kind of been doing their own stuff lately. Like Paramount like really wasn't put out any Blu-rays for years, and like the last year and a half, 2 years, I guess they just need money. They're releasing the shit out of a lot of good Blu-rays. I would love to see this get a special edition. I think that's the only way really this movie can come back a little bigger,
I would literally paramount that fucking mountain and blow a fucking massive load of like 8 gallons of fucking pure cummies right into it just to get this movie on a decent fucking release.
Decent fucking release, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, that's it, man. I heard you've been streaming a lot. Well, I didn't hear. I've been watching some of them.
Oh, yeah.
You guys played Mortal Kombat for hours and hours?
Fucking Mac Mac loves the Mortal Kombat. I just showed up for those. Yeah. We did Silent Hill 2, and now we're doing Doom, the fucking 2016 reboot.
Amazing.
Oh yes. That's a fun game to just like you don't have to follow any story. It's just like fucking you're a guy, demons are destroying the world, you gotta go save the world. And just like put on some music or some fucking podcast and just fucking have fun, baby.
That's what I used to do with Doom. The original Doom, I had it on Atari Jaguar, if you can believe it. And all night long, I would play that game. came out. Like, I think I got that game and that system like my senior year of high school, and like on the weekends and during the summer, all night long, man. Fucking that and blasting White Zombie, fucking Astro Creep, whatever that album was. Like literally all night, just on repeat, playing that CD over and over.
How many gallons of cum and fucking just boxer shorts did you have to go through fucking with all of that cum, just shooting it, having all that fun?
Yeah, probably 40,000 gallons, yeah.
Exactly. They had a sale for like $4 for like the fucking collection of all the old Dooms too.
Yeah. Yeah, I bought a couple years ago. I bought something. I want to say it's like on PS3 or something, even where it had like all that. It had Doom 1, Doom 2, and then like whatever the newest Doom that came out like maybe 10 years ago. I bought that, and I just really I never even played the new Doom. I just went back and replayed Doom 1.
You can't go wrong, baby.
Yeah.
You can't.
It's fun. Those little pig monster guys that pop up with the horns. And you just shoot them, and the little pixelated blood flies out, and they drop.
They need to release the Tim the Tool Man mod though for all fucking 3 or 4 of the games. Fucking let you play as with the Tim the Tool Man walls and fucking doors. Very Chad.
Does somebody do that based on Home Improvement?
Yeah, there was like a video you can find it on YouTube of like it's Doom, but like just put in Doom and Tim Allen. They basically redid every texture to be a picture of Tim Allen, and then all the music is the grunts from fucking Home Improvement.
Amazing.
Fucking big Chad shit.
So yeah, I guess we were late on this one. We should have done it. 1985, 35th anniversary would have been last year. So we're doing the 36th anniversary. So.
Oh yes.
But I'm glad you recommended this one because it was one should have done a long time ago, and I'm glad we did. And the other night I was like watching a bunch of other stuff, and I was like, oh yeah, I gotta watch this movie. And I thought because it was like getting a little bit late. I was like, one of those things was like, oh, I'll probably watch half, then watch another half, tomorrow afternoon. Well,
that's exactly what I planned to do. And you're so into it.
Yeah, I'm telling you, you cannot walk away from this movie. You don't want to
it almost has the thing about it that like kind of that movie you kind of are afraid to do on it for a commentary because you're afraid you'll just devolve into just watching it and quoting it the whole time and not talking.
Which we pretty much did. We just talked about the gags, but it's like you can't help it. There's so much classic shit in here. I mean, just so much just goes by. Like even as much shit as we talked about, if anybody listens to this and has never seen the movie, you still want to watch it because as much as we talked about, there's still a million fucking things in here that you haven't seen before. I mean, out of all the movies I think we've ever done on this podcast, this is like one of the most personal ones to me where I would recommend it to anybody, literally.
Oh yeah.
So thanks again, Zach, and everybody, thanks again for listening, hanging in there with us, and what can I say? I just love this movie. So nostalgic for this movie in all the right ways.
I can speak for myself and go. I know we are both going to be doing cum tributes to this movie as soon as we done. We're going to take our DVD and Blu-ray out, and we're just going to do a cum tribute to this movie. It's amazing.
Yeah, so hit us up on we're on Pornhub on Movie Graveyard Cum Tributes. We'll be on there. You can tip us on there. You don't have to. We were going to start an OnlyFans, but we heard OnlyFans is getting rid of all the X-rated content. So
very low T.
Yeah, we got to stick to Pornhub, but it's still worth it. Oh, yeah. So that's it. I guess you're never better off dead, right, Zach?
Fucking, you're never better off dead, baby.
That's right. So everybody, we'll see you back here real soon in the movie graveyard.
Dog.
You're listening to the Electronic Media Collective Podcast Network. Yeah, it's a mouthful. For more great shows, visit electronicmediacollective.com.